Alright, as you can probably guess by the flannel, the long hair and the beard, I'm a big fan of music from the early 90s, specifically Alice in Chains' first couple of albums, Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger album and the first 5 King's X records. And they have this sort of thing in common with a lot of the riffs in there, in that they use this thing that I like to call the grunge scale, or like the Seattle scale, or the Ty Tabor scale, or the Jerry Cantrell scale, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a scale, it's basically just playing the blues scale with some added notes as power chords. So I'll show you guys how to do this. The most important thing for this kind of sound, I think, is using a guitar with humbuckers and tuning to either drop D, drop C sharp, or drop C. My band Ragdoll tunes to drop C. A lot of the Alice in Chains stuff is drop C sharp, and a lot of the King's X stuff is either like drop D or drop B on some of the Dogman albums. So at the moment I'm in drop C sharp. What do I mean by the grunge scale? Well, what we're going to do is play the blues scale across the low string as single notes, and it sounds like this. The frets would be open, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, like this. What we can do is turn that into one finger power chords in drop C sharp just by playing across the low 3 strings like this. And that on its own is a great way to generate riffs. Here is a riff from my band Ragdoll's album Back to Zero. It's called Rewind Your Mind. That's something that I wrote after listening to loads of Alice in Chains' Dirt and the song Outshined by Soundgarden on Bad Motorfinger, and of course lots of King's X. You can kind of see the influence there because this is Outshined. And this is Dogman by King's X. Something like that anyway. What we can add to that sort of bare bones blues scale played as power chords in drop C sharp or drop D or whatever you're using, whichever drop tuning, is we can add some chromatic passing tones to that. One example that springs to mind would be, say, Damn That River by Alice in Chains, where he adds the major third. So it would be 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, like this. Kind of approach, and it sort of takes you out of that sort of blues scale. It sounds a little bit predictable in the blues scale, but having that extra passing tone to me just makes it sound more spontaneous and more like the kind of thing you would do if you just picked up a guitar, didn't know how to play it, and came up with something that sounded cool. So that's why I like that approach. Another good one would be to add the flat 9, so the first fret, as well as the 9th, which would be the second fret, and this is Them Bones. It's also Son of Israel by Silverchair. So that's totally the vibe there. This also has a real kind of King's X feel to it. That flat 9 chord in particular, if you hit, for example, the open 3rd string with the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, you get this chord. also also droning the open G string through there is really handy. You could take, for example, a sort of blues scale riff, and maybe we'll add the flat 9 right at the end, so doing this. We take a blues scale riff and then use a droning G through there, so like this. Which is another really effective way to get these kind of grunge riffs happening. So I'm just going to sort of jam out on a few riffs using that approach. I'll start by using only the blues scale played like that, then I'll add the major third, then I'll add the 1st and 2nd frets, and I'll also sort of play around at the 10th and the 12th. So here's some riffs. If you enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe, check out my other content, and if you like this sort of music, I would encourage you to check out Ragdoll Back to Zero. Do that so that, you know, I can afford to buy some more guitar strings. Cheers!